Lads, welcome back to Fusion YGO, and today we are coming to the rescue. So for today's video, we are going to be going over some Rescue Ace test hands because some people have requested it. They want to know how I pilot the deck given my last profile where I went undefeated with Rescue Ace. And I figured it was only fair to show people how I navigate these hands doing some test hands because they do vary a lot, but essentially all that you really end up needing to do is getting 2 Rescue Ace monsters in graveyard with a Turbulence in hand. That is basically your end goal. There's a lot of extra things you can do with the hands that ends up making a lot of really cool and fun and ridiculous plays. So let's go ahead and jump into the first test hand today, and we'll give you guys a couple different variations so you can just see more so how this deck functions. All right, so for this test hand, we have drawn Rescue Ace Fire Engine, Gizmek Naganaki the Sunrise Signaler, Double Ash, and a Rhoda. This is actually like a perfect example of a good Rescue Ace hand. It does kind of vary in the way that you want to do it. So you do have a couple different options here. You can either go Rhoda into your Airlifter, be able to summon out the Fire Engine, get 2 bodies on board, but that doesn't get you to your Turbulence. It gets you the Field Spell and a Link 2 with 2 Rescue Ace monsters in graveyard, which is a good start. Don't get me wrong, if you opened up the Turbulence, that would probably be the more optimal play. But given that we need to get Turbulence in our hand, what we're actually going to do is normal summon this Gizmek Naganaki and use its effect to tribute itself off to summon our Rescue Ace Hydrant from the deck here. Since a Rescue Ace monster is normal or special summoned, we can special summon this Fire Engine from our hand, which is just super nice. So we have our 2 bodies online that we can go ahead and do Rescue Ace Hydrant here to be able to add our Turbulence to hand. Now, the reason we didn't bother with Rhoda in this instance to get our Airlifter is because the Gizmek Naganaki is not a Rescue Ace monster, so you wouldn't be able to get your extra normal summon, and you wouldn't really be getting any value off of it, which really sucks. But you can still, in this instance, be able to Rhoda to grab yourself extra follow-up by going for an Impulse, because if your opponent activates a monster effect on field, you can tribute this guy from your hand to special summon a Rescue Ace monster from your deck. So that can get you into a lot of things and get you into your second Fire Engine, so you can start getting more Moddies on field. You can go into a Fire Attacker, so you can start getting some draws and discards. There's plenty of flexibility when it comes to Impulse, but basically Turbulence is your ultimate play, because in this instance, you're going to link both of these guys off for an IP Masquerena to then banish them both with Turbulence. Yes, it isn't really nice to be able to have to banish those off of your Turbulence, but you do have ways to get them back. So now we're just going to be able to set our 4 back row. Once Reinforce comes out, I think I would actually, in this case, opt to not search for the alert and opt to add Reinforce instead, because you can always get alert on a follow-up turn, but adding from graveyard to hand isn't really that great. You'd rather get the special effect to keep all of your back row online. Because with this board, it doesn't look like much, but this is actually a minimum of 3 disruptions, not including the hand. Because you have the IP and the Turbulence can go into a Nightmare Unicorn, which afterwards you can always rescue back your Turbulence to the field to get the rest of your back row online. And then Contain and Extinguish are both disruption within themselves. One's an Imperm that can be on steroids if you have Hydrant on field, and then the other one is a Pop. So basically you get 2 good disruptions out of this easily that you can just keep recurring. And then with this hand on the follow-up, like I said, you can Impulse. Best play, honestly, would probably be to go into your Fire Engine. When your opponent special summons a monster while you have Fire Engine on field, you can special summon another from deck. I would probably at that point summon the Airlifter, so that way you get your field spell, you have a couple extra bodies, and then you have follow-up for next turn because that field spell can recycle all your stuff and then allow you to get an extra draw as well. So this board is... This board is actually a minimum of 4 disruptions, because like I said, we have the Unicorn, the 2 back row, and then we also opened up Ash, which is just super strong. So let me go ahead and get up another hand here, and we'll kind of show you guys a little bit of a different combo. All right, so this is kind of one of those hands where you do have a combo going, but you're not guaranteed to get your Rescue Ace combo. So let's go ahead and hit this banish targets here. You really just get rid of a lot of the toolbox options that you don't think you're gonna need. I kind of have a list of like what I already get rid of right off the bat, so it's totally up to you guys here. Let's see, we're gonna probably get rid of this guy. Perfect. We'll see what the top 6 are here. If we get another extender, we have a chance. Okay, not the greatest. I think in this case, actually our best option is going to be that Reasoning and trying to hit another Rescue Ace name. There is a little bit of a gamble here, but I mean, there is at least a decent chance. So we'll go ahead and activate this Reasoning. Our opponent's probably going to call 4 because it's like one of the most common, and they just saw 2 of our level 1s get put back on the bottom. Oh, look at that. And then we just get the Turbulence off the top. Doesn't even matter. So we can, for the sake of this combo, pretend that this was something else, like a fire engine or something, just so you guys can still see it. I'll play out this hand despite this being a turbulence, because turbulence is just insane. So I would still normal summon the hydrant here and then use his effect to be able to search for our turbulence. Boom, get him to hand. Like I said, we're just pretending that this turbulence on field is not a turbulence, just for the sake of the combo, so you can see better how to navigate these hands. So you're going to link these two off for an IP once again. Since we have the Parallel Exceed in hand, we are actually going to special summon it as well to be able to get itself and another copy from the deck. This will actually set us up for some really nice stuff here that allows us to basically almost guarantee that we get a play the next turn. So we're going to go ahead and Turbulence here before we do anything with these guys. We did get a Rescue Ace HQ off that reasoning. I think we could probably... I think, yeah, we'll get rid of the Turbulence and the HQ here to keep that Hydrant engrave, because if we reborn the Hydrant during the opponent's turn, then our back row gets all of its bonus effects. So that's just like turbo insane. So then now here with this board, before once again we use the Parallel Exceeds, we're going to go ahead and use the Turbulence to set our 4 back row. Once again, once Reinforce comes out, I'm going to opt to not search Alert off of this and go for the Reinforce instead, because Reinforce is so strong. Now that we have our 4 back row and we have all of our stuff online, we're going to go ahead and turn these two. Well, I forgot to throw it in this extra deck, but here you would turn those 2 Parallel Exceeds into a Bagooska, so that way you have a Bagooska in defense on board to keep your opponent's monster effects from going off. You also have your 4 back row. Like I said, you can kind of shotgun the rescue as soon as possible on your opponent's turn to get that Hydrant back out. So that way your Contain and Extinguish are just completely on steroids. And then as well, even Alert can get you an extra monster from your deck to your hand for follow-up, which is really nice. So it kind of guarantees you have extra plays. And of course, in this hand, we also have the Impulse and the Gizmek Naganaki as extra follow-up. We basically have an extra copy of Hydrant, and then this, when our opponent activates the monster effect on field, gets us into anything we need. So actually really, really insane combo. So I said this deck it is a little bit luck based in certain cases with stuff like Prosperity and Reasoning, but there are definitely a lot of options and a lot of flex points to be able to go into different stuff. Like I said, basically your end goal is to get 2 Rescue Ace monsters in graveyard and Turbulence on field. That is the bare minimum of what you want to do with this deck, but of course there's a ton of extra things you can do, like getting your field spell for follow-up to be able to recycle stuff. Being able to get the Parallel Exceeds on board to set up a Bagooska. Honestly, when I went undefeated with that Rescue Ace deck, Bagooska carried the majority of my games, and it was just super free. Just getting Parallel Exceed to go into Bagooska was incredibly free. So that's all I got for you guys today on this combo tutorial. Short and sweet. I just kind of wanted to give you a brief idea of how I pilot the deck. Definitely take the list and experiment with it as you see fit. The extra deck is totally up for grabs. There's only a few cards that I would say are like mainstays for the extra deck. Definitely some kind of Link 1 that you can link off Hydrant for. Specifically Linkuriboh and Almirage are like the best ones. Relinquished Anima's not bad for going second. It does help you break boards a little bit easier. And then of course things like BLS are really strong because you have a lot of higher level monsters in this deck. It's definitely not among the best, but it is pretty good. And then you have a ton of other options. You know, I mean, just flex around with it as much as you want. The main deck can be pretty flexible too, outside of your Rescue Ace engine, which unfortunately is pretty big, but you can definitely put as much non-engine in here as you want, and it's usually just fine. So definitely experiment with this deck. I really highly recommend it to you guys. It's been a ton of fun for me, and there's a lot of insane stuff this deck can do. I do feel it is unfortunately a little bit slept on this format, given how diverse things are right now. I think this deck could actually have more of a shot than people give it credit for, especially because, yeah, the macro effects of Kashtira from like a Rise Heart can definitely hurt this deck a little bit, but at the same time, you can still, as long as you get Turbulence on field, that's all that matters, and you have a few ways to be able to do that. So anyways, guys, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I really enjoyed doing this one. I love Rescue Ace. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I definitely respond to as many as I can all the time. I really appreciate your guys' input, and we'll catch you guys all in the next video. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, remember, good fun at Block.